Lesson 1, whatever it takes. Everybody got a book? Everybody got a book? That's me. Okay, so I need to know, raise your hand. I need to know who's read through this material. Who read through it before? Raise your hand high if you read through this material, because the rest of you all want to slap. Okay, I'm glad you said up front, Nathan. Okay, this is not your typical, normal, everyday Awana elective. If you're going to go, you're going to spend other people's money, more than likely. I haven't seen your bank account lately, but assuming some other people are going to help, then it's not fair to them, it's not fair to God. You want to go and be as most prepared as you can be. Okay, and this is very good. We've done this, we've gone on mission a lot of times, and this book really does a good job of things that we need to know when we go. So read that over, and if you haven't read it over, then you haven't thought about the questions, and you are not going to have time today during the small group to answer all those questions. So you're going to need to answer those before you come back next week. Because, like I said last week, you have to finish this book to go. So, you want to continue to pray for God to give you an attitude of whatever it takes. So, if you haven't been praying that, start tonight. Before you go to sleep. You need an attitude of doing whatever it takes. Very shortly, the leaders will get together and figure out some real big picture stuff, and then as we get these applications back and figure out who's going, everybody that's going will be coming together and be dividing up all the different tasks it takes to get there. I do very little. About all I do, I print the papers. That's all I do. You guys do everything else. So pray to God to give you an attitude of whatever it takes to obey His directions and give honor to Him. That's why you're going. This isn't a school field trip where you're just gonna go tooling down there and catch some fish in the river. So, what's your attitude? Good job. And if you weren't here last week, I'm not the teacher. I am the facilitator. You're gonna have somebody will be up here facilitating each lesson, and you guys that know something, you guys that have been on the mission before, need to be talking. You need to be giving us examples, especially, next week, you guys that have been before, when you do next week's lesson, what's in this for you, what's in this for them. I mean, it's basically, you guys are going to do the whole lesson. We're going to learn a whole bunch more from you guys just giving your examples than by me reading this book or something. So, we know what Sierra's attitude is. Anybody else want to offer your attitude? Anybody's attitude need a little work between now and June? Because the environment needs to be. So, are you willing to go thinking you will be playing with little kids and you might end up digging ditches? So, if you can't tell yourself right now that that's what you're going to do, then you shouldn't be going. Because there's no promises. We're going to serve God, whatever He needs. So, what's our goal? Anybody want to guess? What's our goal? Nathan. Wow.
Over there.
Yes.
Building a church.
That could be one of our goals. What else?
Spreading the word of God.
Read the Word of God. How? Why?
Our co-workers or people that
Narrow that down a little bit. Why do we want to spread the Word of God? Because I could probably do that by flying over and dropping leaflets. Expand for me.
spreading the word of God.
Somebody help. He started it. Help.
Show them what the love of God is.
We're going to show them. That's one way to get. How are we going to get the Word of God across? Well, anybody know chip poop? What is it? What is it? Shapibo. Okay, We don't know that. Oh, it's really Spanish. So most of them speak Spanish because they don't like to speak their own native tongue in front of people. So most of them only speak in Spanish. By the way, who we got here that knows how to speak Spanish?
What do you mean?
Can you order off a menu? That's the important part. Can you hail a taxi and order off the menu? So no fluent speakers, huh? Okay, hey, this is what our goal is. Our number one goal, and my number one goal, and the only reason I put this effort into this, is to train for you guys' training. That's a big goal, is for your all's training. Because if you've never been put in an uncomfortable position, then you're probably going to avoid that any chance you get. But you get out there in the jungle with me, and just like this poor young volunteer here, he answered a question a while ago. Well, then I'm going to keep asking him, and I may even make him a little uncomfortable when I'm asking him, but it's okay. Because we're all going to be friends. We're all going to be friends. And any mistake that's not caught on camera will not count. The ones on camera, yes, they will be in the final video. So we're going there to train. Okay, so we're going there to get out of your comfort zone and learn. Time you get back from a trip with me, you're gonna, it's not gonna bother you as much. You get out of your comfort zone, and then you can just keep expanding and just keep expanding, and you're gonna keep on learning. Now, I should tell you what my cousin Kenny told me yesterday. So parents, close your ears. Because he's considered his kids going with us. And he's so, you know, there's some of y'all's parents really hesitate before they send you with you. I know this. But for Kenny, he doesn't ever hesitate. He lets his kids come with me anywhere. And I said, what do you do? He says, well, I know that they're either going to have an adventure of a lifetime, or they're going to die happy. So, don't tell your parents that. So we're going there to train, and we're going there to reach others, like Joey said. And we're going there to how are we going to reach others? We're going to show that God's love is one way. And how else? What's a big way that Jesus, what did he do? Did things, met their physical needs. Okay? Go in and start meeting somebody's physical needs. Somebody that's been on a mission with me. We don't have any California people left. But, you know, we go down there to California and we start meeting the folks' physical needs by painting the trailer roof, building a set of stairs, laying carpet, whatever it is. Oh, and, well, you went to the Tri-Cities. What happened when we started meeting the ladies' physical needs? You're my only two Tri-Cities people, right?
No.
What happened when we started meeting the ladies' physical needs?
She started talking, wasn't asking questions.
Okay. And who else? Did it stop at her house? Her neighbors started asking questions on what we're doing there. Anyone else? The church we stayed at, we impacted them. Anybody here from Africa? When we went down and talked at that one church, and we had college-age kids in there, and the pastor's wife was the teacher of the college-age kids. Did you notice? Do you remember how we impacted those kids and the pastor's wife of just you guys going down there and pouring cement all day? And, yeah. The pastor's wife was in tears, you know, and they start thinking about, you know, hey, I'm teaching college-age kids, and I never even imagined we could do something like this. So your impact is tremendous. But what we're about to do is no small thing. This going to Peru. And I like to go to a farther away place every 4 years. And then on the other 2 years, we go to a little bit closer place. Because if we only went somewhere in the States and Canada and Mexico sometimes, then you're not going to get to experience some of this stuff. And one of them is money. It is no small thing. We have some people that may go that end up sending 3 teenagers from one family. How much, did they read the letter yet? How much is that going to cost? That could be close to $10,000. What do you think that family's thinking? I don't know. What they're thinking.
We need more money.
Okay? And so we need to help them, and that's one of my things, is I help them and I coach them, and, you know, we try to take the focus, off of the money. It's your guys' focus to learn this material and be the best examples for Christ you can be when we get on the ground. That's your job. You gotta have to do some things to get there. You're gonna have to, when it comes time to send out your support letters, you can't be lazy. You gotta send them out, on time. And the folks, anybody got any stories for me about folks getting back to us about sending in support? Do the people send in support reluctantly? How do people feel to ask to send in support? Everybody got those stories? Sue?
I had missionaries that actually supported me to send me to Canada. I had missionaries that gave me money. I didn't ask them for money. They heard where I was going and they supported me and sent me money. That's all I got.
Quite often, it's the people, I've had pastors that are living with nothing that want to support me to go. You know, quite often it comes even back and touches you, some of the people that want to support and be a part of it. Now, why do you think pastors and missionaries, they want to be first to support it? Well, they've been on the other end. They know what a blessing it is. Okay? And we've had support come in from all over the place, so it's a blessing to them. So, yeah, you're going to have to ask for things, but your primary goal is your primary goal is to be ready to go when you get on the ground and be of the right attitude. We're only there for a short amount of time. If I have to spend half of one of those days dealing with a problem teacher, then that wipes out that person, me, and a good portion of the rest of the crew, because they're all talking about it. Wouldn't have time for that. We're going to serve and to let Christ shine. Okay? And some of this stuff is going to help you get your mind right to go. So this is no small thing. It's going to take some finances. It's going to take a huge amount of faith. Some amount of faith that maybe y'all have not experienced before. Okay? I don't want to say you haven't. Some of you have. I know some of you have when it comes to anything from finances, medical issues to anything. But some of you have not gotten a chance to experience what it's like to have this amount of faith and see this come together. Okay, you've got to finish your book, so you're going to have to put in some prep time, and that's going to be a challenge for some of you. Some of you have not finished books before, some of you have not memorized any verses before. We're reducing down the memory verses to the bare minimum, so that verses should not be an issue to stop you. And I use son Daniel as an example. Memory verses was not his thing. That was the hardest thing in the world for him, but his motivation was camp. He liked camp every summer, so he knew the memory verses. That your motivation, Haley? Say, okay, so everybody's motivation is different, but because I saw him learn verses, I know anybody can learn verses. Okay, we're going because experience is a good teacher. Experience is going to teach you to overcome some of these things that might seem insurmountable to you. So let's try to understand the goals of the mission as I keep every week putting some more in front of you. Let's try to understand what we're doing on this mission. And then start to identify what your role is going to be. Everybody's role is not going to be the same, but nobody's role is more important than anybody else's. This is going to be a little bit different because I'm starting to detect a little bit about we maybe not all go build and then all of us go do a VBS. Maybe for the first time, some of us will be up there building and some of you all will be working with little kids at the same time. If that happens, nobody's more important. Nobody's not pulling their weight. Everybody's doing what God gave them to do. So we may end up doing two things at once, and that'll be at first a little bit different for us. So we got to be ready for that too. So somebody read Matthew 25, 31 through 46. Matthew 25, 31. You got it?
Yeah.
Real loud.
When the Son of Man comes in his glory
So God's going to look at the service we do in time. So in small groups, you're going to discuss 5 things that you can do for those in need. If you haven't filled out that question yet, that's one of the questions you're going to fill out. Oh, that's okay. Matthew 28:18. And Jesus came and spoke to them, saying, all authority has been given to me in heaven and on earth. Okay, if you haven't finished that question yet, you're going to find the truth in that verse. And if you need help, ask those in your group. So, when you break out in your small groups in a minute, if you need help on the 5 things, if you don't know how you can help those in need, ask for help. You're going to discuss Matthew 25:40. In Matthew 28:18 through 20, you're going to figure out what you're told to do. You're going to find the truth in verse 18. And you're going to figure out some ways you will follow these directions on your mission trip. So, I encourage you to continue to pray that God give you the right attitude. You're going to need to do whatever it takes. Now, leaders, when you break out into your groups, I would encourage you not to try to go through all those questions from top to bottom. You'll never get through them. Possibly, I'm hoping that as we get rolling, people will have a real good start of those. Maybe there's 1 or 2 of those that are really easy and we don't need to discuss in a small group, and you can spend your time helping people on the harder ones. Whatever you need to do in your group. I should have introduced our visitors. I'm sorry for not introducing. This is Brent. He's going to join us on part of this study. So that's who that, in case you don't know who that is. She's the one that taught Sierra everything she knows. Okay, so, and then when there's 2 minutes left, I'm going to interrupt. Everybody will get really quiet, and I'll give you a fast outline for next week, including the verse that you need to know. So break out into your, spread out, break out into your small groups. Yes, they're down. So, look,